Hi, today we are comparing two approaches, a third-party job scheduler versus the Archiving Sessions Cockpit, an SAP-certified solution built specifically to automate data archiving and data destruction in SAP. Let's dive in. If you've ever managed data archiving in SAP, you know it can get complex fast. SAP data archiving is one of the most demanding processes from a job scheduling perspective. It involves multiple independent background jobs, and all the steps are coordinated through transaction SARA. Job scheduler tools do not inherently understand archiving logic, object dependencies, or retention constraints. In contrast, the Archiving Sessions Cockpit embeds business logic specific to data archiving. The Archiving Sessions Cockpit understands archiving object dependencies, organizational granularity, retention and residence times, and ILM and destruction constraints. Each archiving session involves multiple steps. Some archiving objects require a SAP pre-processing job, sometimes complemented by customer-specific pre-processing logic. This is followed by the archiving job itself write step, which generates one or more archive files. Once archive files are created, they may be stored in a content server via the Archive Link interface. This step is optional. Archive files can alternatively remain on the file system or in blob storage. The storage process can be executed either before or after the deletion job, depending on the configured workflow. If Archive Link is not used, the archive files typically need to be backed up manually on a designated storage area. This corresponds to the step Save ADK file, and a deletion job that deletes the archive file from the database. In some cases, archiving post-processing jobs are required and may be supplemented by customer-specific post-processing programs. The Archiving Sessions Cockpit automates the complete data archiving and ILM process in SAP, from creating archiving files to deleting them and managing data destruction workflows. It automatically generates highly detailed variants based on different customizing fields. As illustrated, an archiving session consists of multiple background jobs and therefore requires robust exception handling throughout the process. For example, an archiving job may generate 2 archive files and then terminate unexpectedly. Archiving sessions with the ASC are managed from 3 fields: object, area, and options. Object is a mandatory field, while area and option are optional. In the field Object, we define the SAP archiving object to run. In the field Area, we define the organizational entity, which can be a company code, a plant, a sales organization, a controlling area, etc. With Option, we can specify technical elements. Options relate to different parts of SAP, such as the document types. For example, a billing document can be archived based on a billing type as defined in SAP customizing. One billing type could be archived with 6-month residence time and another one with 24 months residence time. Let's now look at variant creation, a critical aspect of data archiving. Creating well-defined and detailed variants helps improve access performance to archive data and enables efficient management of SAP organizational changes, such as system splits or company divestments, when part of a group is sold to another organization. Because this process is so important, let us now look at 2 examples. The first example applies when a company code is sold or when an SAP system is split. Imagine a system with 2 company codes, where company-specific variants have been used to archive accounting data. This situation can lead to mixed archived files and technical challenges. It can also lead to serious data confidentiality issues, particularly when company divestments are involved. In this second example, we archive sales orders SDVBAK. Some orders relate to independent customers, while others are cross-company sales orders. This distinction is determined by the SAP sales order type. By linking the archiving option to the sales order type, we can separate cross-company sales orders from regular sales orders and apply different retention rules. For example, cross-company sales orders may be deleted earlier, Sales orders are archived on a monthly basis. As a result, if access to February sales orders is required, only the February archive files need to be accessed, rather than the entire archive set. Combining monthly archiving with the separation of cross-company and regular sales orders results in 24 archiving runs per year instead of a single annual run. This is not an issue, as the Archiving Sessions Cockpit fully automates these archiving executions. The benefit is greater efficiency and faster access to archived data. For instance, when opening an archive file for February, only the files containing February sales orders are involved. Similar challenges and benefits apply to scenarios involving sales areas or plants abroad, where stock may belong to a different company code. As illustrated, variant creation is not a simple process unless it is automated. For a single archiving object, multiple variants must often be created to address time-based data segregation, accommodate organizational changes or system splits, and ensure efficient response times when accessing archive data. Manual variant creation is cumbersome and error-prone, and these errors can result in business users losing access to recent or business-critical data. For this reason, the process should not be manual if errors are to be avoided. It is also important to note that many archiving objects do not support a reload option, and ADK archive files cannot be modified once they are created. While options such as tvarv entries, SAP variables, or generic variants may be used, they fall well short of providing a complete and reliable solution for variant creation. Using generic variants to bypass this issue leads to poor performance, as we will see in the following example. With ASC, the variant is generated automatically. The field Archiving Session Note is also populated automatically, eliminating the risk of manual error. A traditional job scheduler does not provide this level of functional intelligence. Variant creation remains manual, as does the maintenance of the Archiving Session Note. Now let's talk about sweep archiving. Sweep archiving in SAP is a data archiving approach where the system systematically evaluates the entire dataset for an archiving object and archives all records that meet the defined retention and selection criteria, regardless of when they were created or last processed. Job schedulers rely on generic variants. As a result, archive files often contain mixed datasets, which complicates subsequent processing. With generic variants, the selection criteria are not clearly defined. As a result, SAP ends up evaluating a lot of recent or irrelevant data during the archiving run, which reduces efficiency. With the Archiving Sessions Cockpit, this works differently because it does not rely on generic variants. Instead, it creates detailed, purpose-built variants based on the criteria you define. For sweep archiving, you simply enable the sweep option in the archive session. ASC automatically builds the right selection logic, marks the run as a sweep archiving job, and documents everything in the archive notes. The result is cleaner archive files, faster runtimes, and a much smoother archiving process. When scheduling archiving runs, there are dependencies between objects. This means some objects must be archived before another one. Some archiving runs must happen in a specific order, and these dependencies are defined at the variant level, not at the job level. A classic example comes from sales and distribution. Sales deliveries must be archived before sales orders. Accounting documents depend on controlling documents. In addition, S/4HANA comes with new dependencies because of a new table, ACDOCA, that mixes finance and controlling data. Some archiving runs must happen in a specific order, and these dependencies are defined at the variant level, not at the job level. Without the right tooling, keeping track of these relationships can quickly become time-consuming, especially if variants and dependencies are managed in an external scheduler. In a job scheduler, dependencies are defined manually. On the contrary, with ASC, you define the dependency once and everything else is handled automatically. And ASC comes with some predefined relationships that may be changed or completed. Once ASC is configured and running, With areas defined, background jobs scheduled, and historical archiving completed, the system operates autonomously. ASC runs consistently in the background, ensuring continuous compliance without constant attention. Now let's look at another common challenge in SAP archiving. How do you avoid impacting system performance during critical business periods? Archiving should never slow things down, especially when the business needs the system most. Take financial closing, for example. No one wants archiving jobs running during year-end, or consider a more operational case. For some retail organizations, sales activity spikes on Monday mornings. Customers place orders prepared over the weekend. That means the system needs to be at its best typically between 7 a.m. and 1 p.m. With the Archiving Sessions Cockpit, this is easy to manage. In just a few minutes, you can define time windows where archiving is paused, and when it can safely run again. ASC handles it automatically in the background, so your teams get the performance they need, when they need it, and your archiving continues without disruption. Let's do a final recap. In summary, a job scheduler is a generalist tool, while the Archiving Sessions Cockpit is a specialist. It transforms SAP archiving from a technical task into an intelligent job. By automating the heavy lifting of variants, notes, and dependencies, our clients consistently reach archiving ratios of 95% or higher while significantly reducing their TCO. Curious to find out more? Visit tjc-group.com for technical blog articles and other resources.